Tell me that's not entrapment. That's entrapment, my man. How? You're in the bushes.
How's that entrapment? Why are you walking on the on-ramp?
Oh, I can walk across here because I'm doing video.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Southern Draw Law. My name is James White, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, former police officer. So I was skimming the interwebs the other day looking for some content that I could talk about, and I came across this video, and I thought it presented a good opportunity to talk about something that I haven't been able to talk about on the channel yet, and that is entrapment. What does it actually mean? What is the legal definition? And does this situation actually look like entrapment? So the video actually comes to us from a YouTube channel called 99 Cent, S-E-N-T, Sale. In it, a person claims that when he sees a cop set up in a particular hiding spot, or basically out of the public view and being sneaky and trying to do traffic enforcement, he always goes over and tries to run them off. Now, the source video on this particular incident is 17 minutes long, so I didn't include all of it. I edited it quite a bit for the purposes of our discussion, but I suggest that you go over to 99 Cent Sales YouTube channel, watch the video in its entirety, and give him credit for sharing it. Let's take a look.
All right, come on, let's go. Let's see if we can help out the people of the world and get this city cop off the highway. Let's see if we can do that. So we're gonna go up and video record this city cop sitting on the highway behind some trees. It's entrapment, and I'm gonna show you guys it's entrapment because the city cop's not even allowed to be there. There's been a lot of people complaining. Tell me that ain't entrapment. Look at this dude. Tell me that's not entrapment. That's entrapment, my man. How? You're in the bushes.
How's that entrapment? Why are you walking on the on-ramp?
Oh, I can walk across here because I'm doing video.
I understand you're doing video. I see that. You can't be walking on on-ramp.
Is there a reason why you're sitting here entrapping people? That's entrapment, bro.
Yeah, but
You gotta have your lights on, you gotta be out so we can see
you
you.
understand you cannot walk here?
Okay, so the first question you might be wondering is, if it is in fact entrapment for a police officer to conceal him or herself for the purposes of traffic enforcement. The short answer to that is no, but let's explore the definition of entrapment in more detail. So if you go to the Department of Justice website, they actually lay out the elements of entrapment and give you a couple of case citations to give you some reference. So it says entrapment is a complete defense to a criminal charge on the theory that the government agents may not originate a criminal design, implant in an innocent person's mind the disposition to commit a criminal act, and then induce commission of the crime so that the government may prosecute that person. And that comes from Jacobson versus United States from 1992. A valid entrapment defense has two related elements. Number one, the government inducement of the crime, and number two, the defendant's lack of predisposition to engage in the criminal conduct. Inducement is the threshold issue in the entrapment defense. A mere solicitation to commit a crime is not inducement, nor does the government's use of artifice, stratagem, pretense, or deceit establish inducement. So hiding yourself in a way that isn't easy to see would kind of fall into this sort of tactical way to catch somebody doing something. It does not establish inducement. Rather, inducement requires a showing of at least persuasion or mild coercion. So again, the example I use is you pull up beside a guy in a regular car and he's at a stoplight and he says, "Hey, I'll race you to the next red light." You know, it turns out when you get there and after you outrun him, he gets behind you, turns on blue lights and pulls you over. He's a police officer. Now, no indication that you had a predisposition to run as fast as you possibly could to the next red light. No reason to think that you were going to otherwise commit any sort of traffic offense. But he's, suggested or revved his engine, whatever the case may be, whatever the facts need. But you understand the hypothetical. You had no design on trying to race to the next red light. This person tries to get you to do it. Now, again, if the government agent rolls down the window and says, hey, you want to race to the next red light? That would be like a mere solicitation. Even that is not enough. So there would have to be at least persuasion or mild coercion. So again, something like, hey, you're a chicken if you don't do this, or you're a punk if you don't do this. If you don't race me, then you're just a punk. That might be enough to cross the line over into mild coercion or at least persuasion. But just saying, hey man, you want to race, that's just solicitation. That's not even enough to meet the first element, the inducement element of entrapment. So surely just sitting off on the side of the road waiting for someone to come do what they're going to do is certainly not entrapment. I always try to get people to think of it in terms of like hunting and trapping. So the difference between being a deer hunter who gets in a tree stand and waits for deer to come along, where they wear camouflage, they climb really high so the deer can't see them, they're not on the ground, they cover their scent, they do all these things to try to make sure that they go undetected, but they're still just hunting. They're just along for the ride, waiting for deer to do what deer do, and then they intercept their path, and then they take the animal. That is more like what the police officers are doing here than in trapping. And then like in trapping, in like a hunting context, would be, okay, well, I'm gonna bait the deer into go into a place they wouldn't ordinarily go, doing something they wouldn't ordinarily do, and then I'm gonna lock them in a cage. That still is not the legal definition of entrapment, but it certainly is more akin to entrapment than what the officer does here just by concealing himself. So the key to keep in mind is that there is a difference between concealing yourself somewhere and waiting for someone to commit a crime and then enforcing the law and arresting them for it, than setting up the criminal design yourself, coercing someone to commit it with you, and then popping out and be like, gotcha! That's entrapment. Just waiting for someone to do what they're going to do and hiding yourself is not legally entrapment. Is it chicken shit? Sure. I mean, is it shady and not a good way to build relationships with your community? Sure, absolutely, but it's not illegal and it's not entrapment. But in addition to the citizen accusing the officer of entrapment, one other thing happened that's kind of interesting, and that is that the person filming here is going to be accused of breaking pedestrian laws. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so I started the video and started the video as the cameraman was interacting with the cop. But if I actually go back to the source video and watch what he does before that, let's take a look at that.
You tell me that's not entrapment. That's entrapment, hiding behind trees. So I'm gonna show you what I do all the time. Every time I come up here and I get these guys, I stay on public property and record them.
You can see that he's actually approaching the intersection, and he actually does use a crosswalk for a little bit, but then when he gets to the other end of the crosswalk, knowing full well that his intention is to go over there and engage with this police officer and do what he's getting ready to do, he leaves the crosswalk and starts sort of walking up the ramp to the controlled access highway and then crosses at a diagonal. And I know that probably sounds like a stupid thing to describe, and it is kind of silly, but the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania actually has a law against crossing a non-controlled intersection at a diagonal. So he walks up and he addresses the cop, and the cop is sort of arguing back and forth with him, and he uses this sort of generic term, jaywalking. Pennsylvania doesn't use that language, but Pennsylvania does have some pedestrian laws on point, and they are kind of strange. So let's take a look at Pennsylvania 75, Title 75, Chapter 35, Subchapter C, Subsection 3544D, and it says that no pedestrian shall cross a roadway intersection diagonally unless authorized by official traffic control devices or at the direction of a police officer or other appropriately attired person authorized to direct, control, or regulate traffic. So a lot of states have prohibitions for pedestrians on the interstate or on controlled access highway ramps like this where pedestrians can't be there at all. It doesn't seem like Pennsylvania has that, but there may be a city or county ordinance that could be enforced that addresses that. But it looks like the law of the Commonwealth only covers diagonal crossings for some reason. I've never seen that before, but it highlights an important point, which is that this guy has taken it upon himself to go take this officer to task about what he's doing, and he violates the law right in front of the officer in the process of doing it. So the officer is operating within the bounds of the law, albeit maybe not in a way that makes this guy happy or that any of us like, but the officer's abiding by the law and the cameraman is not. So he's committed a traffic infraction right in front of the police officer, all while accusing the police officer of breaking the law. And not only that, but accusing him of breaking this sort of like obscure law that is very complicated and nuanced, and accusing him of entrapment, and he clearly does not understand what entrapment means. They're going to get into a little bit of a heated exchange, and we're going to watch and see how this ends.
I can be over there and I can be here.
This is access to the highway.
This is public property.
This is an on-ramp.
This is public property. That's public property.
No.
I've
Well,
recorded.
you're right. This is public property.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a state route highway. You cannot walk
I can
on
be
the
over
highway.
there. I can cross the street. Yeah, because
No,
I can
there's no
cross it right
crosswalk
there.
here, sir.
I can
No
cross it
crosswalk
right there.
There's no crosswalk.
Well, then I can walk up
So
on
I'm
this
gonna
private
ask you-
or this public property right here.
You
Yep.
walk through the grass area and walk
Yeah.
back. Stay off of the lane of travel. You understand that?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, proceed.
I'm doing a video.
I see that.
You can't stop me
You're
from.
also jaywalking over here.
No, I wasn't jaywalking. I walked straight across.
You walk in an angle.
I walked straight
You proceed
across.
through the lane, but I'm not going to dispute that with you. Proceed to walk from here. Leave, please.
Is that a lawful order?
Yes, that is a lawful order.
What crime do you suspect me of
I
committing?
already spoke to you about that.
Okay, I'm
Continue
on public property right now.
That is correct, sir.
Correct. Yeah, so I'm allowed to be here all day.
You want to play games?
This ain't a game.
I need your ID, please.
For what?
You're jaywalking.
I didn't jaywalk.
You did.
I don't have ID. I don't have it. I don't have it. I'm getting video of you entrapping
You're not free to
people.
leave. Stand
Okay,
by.
that's fine. Get some backup. Call the state boys too. Only got a couple more minutes of video. I'm gonna pause this real quick.
Just clarified everything with the sergeant, just to be sure. But so if I wanted to, which I really don't care to waste my time and taxpayer money, the taxpayer money on your ignorance.
On
You
my
cannot-
ignorance,
listen,
right?
You were jaywalking. I could cite you for
No,
that.
you got it on video?
Therefore, I'm assuming you do actually.
Oh, I
which I'll
do.
confiscate your phone to get that.
No,
if
you
need be.
won't. You can't
So that's what I
confiscate
would
my
do.
phone.
But my point is, you can't walk down the roadway. It's unsafe. I don't know what you're trying to do, man. As far as YouTube channel, whatever, go ahead. As far as if you're trying to show people where I am, that's perfectly fine.
No, I know.
You can do that.
I
but
know.
You cannot walk on an on-ramp down the middle of the road.
I didn't walk down the on-ramp down the middle of the
You might have some mental
road.
illness because you can't seem to recall where you actually were walking.
Okay.
I don't know if you need an ambulance or anything like that.
This
Let me
is
know.
this is funny that you guys always come up with mental illness in this town.
How many other people do you see here? I've been doing this for over 13 years. I haven't seen one person ever
13.
do it.
Weren't you up Foster Township?
So you can leave the area.
Were you up Foster Township?
You can leave the area. And what I'm going to advise you to do
Yeah.
is not be silly like this because you're going to get cited for it. All right? I got better
Okay.
things to do than write you for jaywalking. I didn't sign up to write a ticket for jaywalking. All right?
What'd you
I
sign
signed
up
to
for?
protect the public and save lives.
Is this protecting public?
When people are speeding at high rates of speed, it causes accidents most of the
Oh,
time.
definitely.
Are you aware of that? Like DUIs.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
think
yeah.
you enjoy writing people DUIs and taking their license?
Oh,
No.
no, I
want
mean,
them to
you
get to work,
should. You
but I don't want
should.
the accidents and the deaths and the fatalities the families have to
I mean,
face.
you should.
understand all
You
that,
should
right?
have some type of
So
thing
you can do
with
other things too.
DUIs
If
and
you
stuff
work-
like that.
You work night shift, I'm assuming?
Oh, you can assume
Night
whatever you
shift
want.
worker?
Yeah, you can assume whatever you
One
want.
thing you can do is pick up litter. There's a bunch of it. You got nothing to do today.
Oh,
Litter
sure.
right there. I pick
I
up
know.
one piece of litter a day. You should
Man,
give it a
you
shot.
should. You should.
Enjoy the good weather today.
Yeah, and enjoy entrapping people. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. See? Bye.
So in closing, this video is not, there's nothing dynamic about it. It's fairly anticlimactic, but it does provide an opportunity to explore what entrapment actually means, which is something I've not had an opportunity to talk about on this channel. And it illustrates the importance of understanding the laws in the area you're in before you go challenging police officers on the side of the road. I mean, don't commit a traffic infraction and then go initiate a police encounter where you accuse the police officer of being unethical and then expect nothing bad to happen to you. It really is important that if you're going to go out and do like auditing work and cop watching and that kind of stuff, you really need to be careful about understanding what it is your responsibility, rights, and privileges are as a pedestrian or as a citizen. It's kind of silly to go poking a bear and then getting upset because you got mauled. This is the exact same kind of situation that would happen where people go out and they get themselves into this kind of stuff and they get arrested for something simple, some sort of traffic infraction like this. I mean, it wouldn't have been anything more than maybe a fine or some sort of traffic infraction, but the people that get into these type of situations are not the type of people that'll just be like, you got me, and they pay the fine and go on. No, they want to litigate it and they want to fight it because they actually think they're righteous. And the truth is that the law does not support their position. And so they go trying to find a lawyer. And if they call a lawyer and the lawyer says, well, it'll be $2,500 or $3,500 or $5,000, depending on where you are, to represent you on this claim, well, they don't want to pay that, or maybe they can't pay that. So they end up proceeding pro se and they just lose because, well, for starters, they're wrong. And two, they should have just paid the ticket and moved on with their life because there was zero chance that they had a legal defense. And then they get a bad taste in their mouth over lawyers as if it's somehow a lawyer's responsibility to be there before you act in a certain way and then kind of clean up the mess that you created by not understanding what you were doing. Don't get yourself involved in stuff that you don't understand and then go trying to hold cops accountable and get yourself into a sticky situation and then expect for somebody to come along and rescue you for little to no money or to hold your hand through a situation that you could have avoided altogether if you would have just sort of had a better understanding of how things actually work. So I don't say all of that to pick on this guy necessarily, and I think laws like this are stupid. I mean, how stupid is it that you can't cross an intersection diagonally? But another thing that's stupid is to go start a confrontation that you're not prepared for and then be surprised when something bad happens. So he's actually pretty lucky in my estimation that the cop decided it wasn't worth his time, because I think he could have been righteously cited here based on the law, not based on my idea of what's a good law, but based on the law as it stands. So the moral of the story is, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it all. Anyway, that's all for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video. Please check out some of the other videos on the channel and leave a comment on there as well. Until I see you again, take care. Always film your interactions with the police and keep your evidence to yourself.